Mr Speaker. I also support this bill, but I do have a number of concerns, Mr Speaker, which I will outline. But I'll tell you why, Mr Speaker. My main concern is that this government actually has no real plan whatsoever for the transport sector. It has no plan for the transport sector. And, Mr Speaker, what I will do is I will give you a real-life Hawke's Bay example, exactly what I mean. But before I start, Mr Speaker, I'd just like to say, the last Green Speaker, I also have never accepted any money from the transport sector. However, if they ever want to offer me money, I'm based in Napier. No, I'm only kidding you. Yeah, no, we'll have to declare any donation over $1,500. Mr Speaker, there is no plan, there is no strategy for a New Zealand roading sector, for the New Zealand transport sector. Now, let me give you an example. Mr Speaker. In Hawke's Bay, the Labor government allocated $71 million. $71 million for infrastructure development in Hawke's Bay. This was money collected from Hawke's Bay residents, filling up their tanks at Hawke's Bay petrol stations and driving on Hawke's Bay roads. $71 million put aside by Labor for Hawke's Bay. This was to be administered by the Hawke's Bay Regional Council. And the Hawke's Bay Regional Council thought this was such an important step forward that it put the chair of the Hawke's Bay Regional Council in charge of its transport strategy. It was a man called Alan Dick, a very esteemed gentleman. He'd been a mayor of Napier for 3 terms. He knew the region like the back of his hand, and he always did what was best for the people of Hawke's Bay. And the strategy that this Transport Committee came up with was superb. What it was going to do was it was really going to improve the infrastructure of Hawke's Bay. And one of the main reasons it was so important is because the Treasury came out in a document and said that the payback, the economic payback, or the highest level of economic payback for any dollar spent is that in infrastructure. The government invests $71 million in Hawke's Bay infrastructure. The payback is enormous. We were looking forward to this for a number of reasons. First of all, it would have taken trucks off the Marine Parade. Second, it would have made our port, which is one of the most efficient ports in New Zealand, it would have made it probably the most efficient port in the country. Third, it would have meant that businesses around the country would have located to Hawke's Bay because the infrastructure was in place and ready. And fourth, it would have created jobs in Napier.
Jobs, foreign concept.
Hawke's Bay, Gisborne has 7,000 unemployed people. 7,000 unemployed people. This would have been brilliant for the Bay. It would have created jobs. In fact, if you look at economic theory around what you should do in times of recession, you spend it on infrastructure. You don't give $14 billion away in tax cuts that are not going to stimulate the economy at all. You spend it on infrastructure, because I'll tell you what, those men working on the roads, they earn money.
That's right.
When they're earning money, they're paying taxes.
Security.
And when they're earning money, they're spending it in the shops in Napier. And I'll tell you a sad thing. When I wander down the main streets of Napier, I am hugely concerned about the amount of retailers who are suffering in Napier. I am worried about the amount of retailers who are suffering in Napier for 2 reasons. One, the wealthy have got massive tax cuts. They're saving them. They're retiring debt. If you're on the median wage in Napier, you've got $5. And you know what? That's taken up. That's taken up by petrol. It's taken up by food inflation, which is running at 10%. And it's taken up by just standard costs of living. People aren't spending in Napier. But $71 million being spent in infrastructure in Napier, that would have created jobs. Economic development, it was what we needed. Now, this esteemed gentleman, Alan Dick, the ex-mayor of Napier, he got a phone call from one Stephen Joyce. This Alan Dick is a gentleman, he's been involved in politics at local body at the highest level, got a call from the new minister, said, I want you down in my office in 12 hours. Where's the respect? So Alan Dick jumped on a plane, got down there. Stephen Joyce said to him, "You had $71 million, it's now gone. You had $71 million that was raised by the residents of Hawke's Bay for Hawke's Bay, and now it's gone." Alan Dick said, "Where's it gone?" "Some big pot." And where is the money being spent? Where is this money in Hawke's Bay being spent? Well, according to the National Land Transport Program expenditure 2009-2012, local roads, 22%. These aren't state highways, these are local roads. Now, there is a criteria for spending, for government spending on local roads. You've got to have a people die, it's got to be really dangerous. But when it comes to infrastructure and creating jobs, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. So these roads are not going to be built in Hawke's Bay. Well, no, I withdraw that. They will be built in Hawke's Bay when Labor becomes the government, because we will restore that funding to the people of Hawke's Bay. The money raised in Hawke's Bay will go back to the people of Hawke's Bay. And Hawke's Bay infrastructure will be where it should be, because we all know that when the provinces do well, New Zealand does well. And I'd like to ask that government, what are they doing for the provinces? What has that government done for the people of Napier? What have they done for the people of Napier? Nothing. Nothing. You've taken our $71 million and you've taken it up to Auckland and you're spending it on I don't know what. No one in Napier knows where it's gone. No one in Napier knows where it's gone. They should read Keynesian economic theory. They should read it. They should look what Roosevelt did to get America out of depression. They should do what every economy is doing around the country, except ours, to lift people out of depression. You create jobs. 158,000 people are unemployed in this country. 158,000 people. And where are the policies to create jobs? Well, I'll tell you one policy to create jobs. That was build infrastructure in Napier with $71 million, but it's gone. It's gone. There is no plan. There is no plan for the provinces.
Weak local members, terrain and plus, where are they?
And where has that money gone? Are the roads being built in Mr Jones's area? No, not at all. Where has the money gone from the provinces? What is that government doing for the people of Hawke's Bay? What is that government doing for the people of the province of New Zealand? Nothing. No, it's not. It increased GST. It's increased the cost of living. It is hard work in the provinces. It is hard work. And this government is doing nothing. And as for road user charges, I know all about road user charges. When I drive my fire engine around the streets of Napier, I've got to pay road user charges. And people say to me, you need a fire engine in Napier because you've got to put out the fires lit by the Napier National Member of Parliament. They're all over the place. But the main reason, even though there is no plan, even though there's no roading strategy, no roading plan that anyone can put their hands on and say, that's the way forward. You can't do that. However, we are supporting this Build to Select Committee for two reasons. One, there's been insufficient consultation across the whole industry. And at least in Select Committee, every person who this affects or who wants to say will have the opportunity to do that. This was not done under Mr Joyce's reign with this.
It wasn't done by
the second, not at all. And the second reason is if, in fact, it does streamline and make road user charge regime easier to follow, then we're all for that, because the Labor government is a government that supports hard-working New Zealanders. If we can make it easier for hard-working New Zealanders, then we'll support it. We always have. 9 years, goodness me, 9 years, we made this country hum. We made this country hum. 3% unemployment and now it's up to 7%. 3% unemployment. There used to be a joke that the Mayor of Napier under Labor knew the name of every unemployed person, because there's only about 5 of them. Now there's 7,000. But there is no plan. This government has no plan for the people of the provinces, and the people of Napier are suffering. Not Mr Chair, you, Mr Speaker, you know well. The people of Hawke's Bay are suffering under that government, and it's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. But on that note, I do commend this bill to the House, and I look forward to everyone who's interested having their say, and about time.
Well, the Honourable Joe Henare.